Blake Lively, it appears to me, completely lied.
Wanted to watch It Ends With Us, and it came up on her TV in her room like this.
One of the dates that Blake Lively called out sick from work for It Ends With Us, the Vegas shoot that they were supposed to be. The sick day was them going to the Eras tour? This is real?
That Blake Lively was laughing and having a good time, and no one could really see that there's anything off here. This just proves yet again that there is nothing there.
Blake Lively's public persona is a lie. Receipts reveal the real her.
Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person.
You've seen her bright smile dazzle red carpets, her bubbly charisma steal scenes on talk shows, and her Instagram banter with Ryan Reynolds that made fans swoon.
It's very silly, but we all do get along very well, and it's upsetting that they have to do that to try to sell magazines. There's enough gossip on the show, just watch that.
For years, Blake Lively appeared to be the golden girl who could do no wrong. Smart, stylish, and oh so relatable. But according to insiders, ex-colleagues, and newly unearthed stories, that fairy tale shine might be more fool's gold than actual gold.
They are being so wildly manipulative and dishonest as they have been since the beginning of this entire process that they are literally mining clips on the internet, taking them out of context so that they can produce a narrative that reads like a script to us.
Allegedly, there's a mounting pile of receipts hinting that behind Blake's sweet public persona lies a high-maintenance diva who isn't afraid to manipulate situations, push out smaller creators, and bully co-stars into submission. Is Hollywood's golden darling just a carefully manufactured illusion? Because if these rumors are even halfway true, that's exactly what it looks like.
Okay, so Elsrich posted this video on her Instagram explaining that Blake Lively had pretended that people in her family were sick and told Justin Baldoni that she had to cancel shoot days in Las Vegas because she had to attend a sick family member. But then Elsie found out that Blake Lively had attended a Taylor Swift concert.
People close to her say this side of Blake has always been there. You just had to be paying attention. But with a sizzling legal showdown underway and multiple co-stars speaking up, the whispers are transforming into an all-out megaphone blast. She's rumored to have stepped on indie artists for her own gain, slammed her peers behind the scenes, and delivered scorching demands that left directors pulling out their hair.
But honestly, I have noticed the pattern of, and again, I think this is becoming so deep that because for Taylor to not support her once is very loud. Like the silence from Taylor is very loud, and people are like, well, Taylor doesn't like drama. Actually, she loves drama. She's always in some type of drama, but she speaks about it. She clarifies. This is the one time she's literally like washed her hands of the situation, almost as if to say, well, whatever happens, happens.
So how did she manage to keep the rumor mill mostly silent for so long? And why are these receipts, both literal and figurative, suddenly dropping like bombs? Let's just say a certain lawsuit rattled the cage, and now a mountain of old footage and insider testimonies has come roaring back to haunt her.
She's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
If you thought Gossip Girl was juicy, brace yourself. This is the real gossip, and it's on a whole different level. The talk of Tinseltown at the moment is her tangled legal feud with actor-director Justin Baldoni. At first, the narrative sounded straightforward. Rumors spread that Blake was the victim of Justin's foul play. She was the beloved star. He was a lesser-known troublemaker. Easy, right? Except that story got flipped upside down when Justin fired back, claiming Blake was the one orchestrating shady tactics behind the scenes.
I find it so interesting at this point, especially these people who are supporting Blake Lively. Like, where is the evidence? She said she felt uncomfortable in the dancing scene. Justin Baldoni showed a video from the dancing scene. We couldn't see anything there.
Allegations soon sprang up about Blake feeding her version of events to big-name news outlets, controlling the storyline to paint Justin as a sinister figure. Then, as soon as Justin produced text messages, behind-the-scenes clips, and sworn statements contradicting her claims, folks did a double-take. Suddenly, the once angelic starlet was labeled a master manipulator, with leaked receipts that might prove she toyed with the media and weaponized her Hollywood influence.
She said that he came into her trailer while she was breastfeeding. He showed a text message that she was inviting him in while she was pumping.
Curiously, Justin isn't the only one calling out this alleged shady side of Blake Lively. Several blasts from the past have resurfaced, from old co-stars and production staff to small-time designers who claim she exploited them for creative ideas, then ghosted them.
A lot of it's my real-life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blues. I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
Tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I borrowed it.
His suit?
It was meant for him to wear.
One tidbit that has social media in an uproar. Stories from fashion designers who swear Blake reached out under a pseudonym, gleaned inspiration from their designs, and then took off without credit. Next thing they knew, the core of their ideas was popping up in Blake's outfits or branded ventures, with nary a mention of their contributions. Normally, you might write this off as hearsay, but multiple individuals are stepping up with suspiciously similar testimonies.
All hell broke loose. She claims he sexed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
If that's not enough, there's the small creators who say they spent hours preparing sketches or proposals for her, only to hear nothing but crickets afterward, yet see eerie echoes of their work on her social feeds months later. Pretty sweet deal for her, less so for everyone else. But let's take it back to her breakout days on Gossip Girl, where she earned iconic status as Serena van der Woodsen.
There's an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
Frenemies, is that the new term, frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's they see our characters on the show, and they want that to be true in a sense. I think they want everybody's characters in real life to emulate that. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
On screen, Serena was an aloof yet lovable it girl. Off screen, rumor says Blake was turning that persona into a real-life power trip. Insiders allege she'd angle for storylines that showcased Serena more favorably, and in turn, overshadowed co-stars like Leighton Meester, Blair Waldorf, and Penn Badgley, Dan Humphrey.
It's like it is. I think it will always be negative in the end, but it starts out as a lot of times an innocent thing. People love to talk about other people. It's just natural. That's why they love to watch television.
One squeaky detail, apparently, Armie Hammer was so frustrated by tension on set that he gave a scathing interview, though the specifics of who was at fault remained vague. Another insider claims Blake tried to poison the cast's opinion of Penn after they broke up. While none of them are delivering direct confessions on a silver platter, bits and pieces slip out that collectively raise eyebrows. People rewatching. Old Gossip Girl press interviews now notice awkward glances, stiff body language, and subtle jabs that might point to a behind-the-scenes Cold War. Perhaps that air of Serena is the center of attention was more fact than fiction. Everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway, right?
Everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
The Queen Bee rumors aren't limited to the Gossip Girl era. Fast forward to the present day and the set of It Ends With Us, an adaptation of Colleen Hoover's blockbuster novel. This was supposed to be a dream gig. Blake Lively teamed up with Justin Baldoni, who was both starring in and directing. Instead, it's rumored to have devolved into a fiasco that eventually triggered their ongoing legal blow-up.
Lively Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer.
According to Hush Hush insiders, Blake took collaboration to extremes, demanding script rewrites, rearranging other actors' scenes, and even influencing costume design. Some claim she shot the wardrobe budget into the stratosphere by insisting on custom-made outfits at the last second, leaving producers and the crew scrambling to keep up.
At that point in the film, she had already began to exert control over so many aspects of production, not just rewriting the script, but she had also taken over wardrobe, causing the wardrobe budget to go over by hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The tension reportedly escalated when Justin tried to put his foot down and, rumor has it, Blake threatened to whip out the big guns, i.e. her star power and media connections, if she didn't get her way.
And that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it. And used threats and coercion and bullying to do it.
Sound dramatic? That's apparently just the tip of the iceberg. What truly shook fans was hearing that, behind the scenes, there was chaos reminiscent of a poorly scripted reality show. Crew members felt caught between an A-list star's demands and a director's attempts to keep the project cohesive. Who do you side with? The star who can twist your arm in ways that affect your career, or the boss who signs your paycheck?
I mean, it's wild, you know? I mean, not only Blake Lively, I mean, you're, phenomenal, but also to be a young Lily.
I was like, I feel like that is a disservice too, because she's in the movie, she's not doing me, she's bringing herself.
Some sources hint that the stress grew so debilitating that staff turnover was noticeably high. If that's accurate, it's a far cry from the laid-back, I'm just here to do my job vibe Blake projects and interviews. By the time filming wrapped, the rumor is that she and Justin weren't even on speaking terms. He was holed up in a separate area of the set, making it painfully clear that the professional relationship had disintegrated.
This video that's been leaked that is on Reddit showed that Blake Lively was laughing and having a good time, and no one could really see that there's anything off here. This just proves yet again that there is nothing there.
Then came the lawsuit swirl. Blake claimed Justin unleashed a smear campaign, which painted her as controlling and impossible to work with. She insisted he was guilty of undermining her, but Justin's retort turned heads.
She said that she felt uncomfortable, that he called her sexy. She used that word all the time in interviews. Even with my boyfriend, she used that word a lot.
According to him, it was Blake who orchestrated the negative press, going so far as to feed incomplete or misleading details to major outlets. He also pointed to suspiciously timed articles that popped up the moment her lawsuit dropped, making him look like the villain.
She said that it made her really uncomfortable when Jamie Heath showed nude photos of his wife giving birth. We've seen the photo. We can't see any private parts in the photo. There's nothing.
Add to that a barrage of direct messages, alleged receipts, and rumored HR complaints about Blake's behavior on set. The result? A massive question mark over who was telling the truth and who was spinning tall tales. While all of Hollywood loves a good scandal, even seasoned gossip hounds found the back-and-forth whiplash-inducing. To complicate matters, Ryan Reynolds, the other half of the lively Reynolds power couple, found himself entangled in the drama.
He's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd. She seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean. This guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Some folks who side with Justin allege Ryan tried to strong-arm agencies into dropping Baldoni, effectively blacklisting him. Friedman, Justin's pugnacious lawyer, suggests that Ryan was more involved than he'd like to admit, brandishing his influence behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Ryan tried to exit the stage, metaphorically speaking, with a "this has nothing to do with me" attitude, but Friedman fired back, saying Ryan's fingerprints are all over this meltdown. Now, whether or not that's accurate remains uncertain, but the mere hint that Ryan could be pulling strings behind the scenes is enough to keep the rumor mill spinning. And if that's the dynamic at home, both power players used to calling shots, no wonder Blake might feel confident dominating sets.
Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and actor and director Justin Baldoni. The plot of this lawsuit is actually more interesting, I believe, than the film that they made.
As if these swirling allegations weren't enough, comedic glimpses of Blake in interviews have re-emerged, but not for flattering reasons. Old video clips show her delivering jokes that her co-stars don't seem to find funny, like referencing other people's backgrounds in a borderline offensive manner, or shrugging off the seriousness of fans, wanting to confide personal stories.
It makes more sense when you're watching a show that there's not an obvious choice between good and evil. So she would seem like the obvious choice, but she's also got, flaws as well. But I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
In one snippet, she's asked how fans dealing with sensitive traumas could approach her in public, and she cracks wise about giving out her address or social security number, leaving her co-star visibly uncomfortable. People used to interpret that brand of humor as quirky, but in the current context, it's fueling the idea that she might be insensitive or downright rude underneath the veneer of sweetness.
This movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could.
Then there's Anna Kendrick, who starred with Blake in A Simple Favor. On camera, they had a simmering chemistry that was all part of the film's twisted dynamic. Off camera, whispers say it was less fun friction and more, please keep me away from her. Some fans dissected interviews where Anna's sarcasm seemed aimed directly at Blake's controlling vibe. They'd banter, but there'd be an undercurrent of tension, as if Anna was itching to toss in a comedic jab that revealed her real feelings.
Blake, I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I've met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
The press tried to spin it as frenemies, or as a big publicity joke, but some watchers claim it was an actual clash of personalities, Anna's comedic honesty versus Blake's carefully polished persona. The result? A press tour that felt like a silent boxing match.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
We've been talking about you all day.
Candace Owens, known for her outspoken commentary, also dropped a bombshell that she once heard from an editor at Glamour magazine that Blake Lively was the rudest celebrity they'd ever worked with. For a star who's always tried to come off as the friendliest face in Hollywood, that's harsh. Whether you love or hate Owens, the anecdote contributed another log to the ever-growing rumor fire. If you try to align that with the typical storybook persona Blake peddles, the mismatch is glaring. But is it all sensational gossip, or is there something deeper at play? Blake's defenders argue that successful women always face unfair criticism, especially if they assert themselves. They say that if a male star demanded script changes or big creative control, he'd be lauded as a visionary, while a female star is labeled difficult. That might hold water in some cases, but these allegations are piling up. They're not about one or two demands. They're about alleged intimidation tactics, creative theft from smaller artists, verbally humiliating co-workers, and overshadowing others so aggressively that the team dynamic collapses. Even fans who initially sided with her have started questioning the narrative after seeing repeated patterns from multiple sources.
And I don't understand how all these people can come out and support her. What are they supporting? Why don't they want to see the facts? I just find it so baffling.
Another piece of the puzzle is how quiet Blake has been about the entire meltdown. Typically, celebrities release carefully worded statements when faced with controversies. We deny the allegations, or we're committed to finding the truth. Yet, from Blake's corner, crickets. Some suspect that's because anything she says now could be used against her in the swirling lawsuits. Others suggest she's panicking behind closed doors, trying to figure out how to salvage her brand. Meanwhile, her social media is full of her usual glam shots, witty captions, and disclaimers about how wonderful everything is. A growing chunk of fans, however, isn't buying it. They spam her comments with questions like, "Why aren't you addressing the claims?" Or, "What about the designers you ghosted?" which typically vanish thanks to the block or delete button.
As you can see, it says stars, Blake Lively, Jenny Slate, Brendan Sklenar. They removed Justin Baldoni's name from the film. One thing is to remove it from the poster, as we've seen, but they also removed it from the cast, the list of the cast for the movie. And Blake Lively is the victim here.
What truly stings is the alleged exploitation angle. Hollywood is big on girl power narratives, but you often see a star who seemingly preaches empowerment while undercutting smaller voices in the shadows. If these rumors about Blake's creative theft are true, it means she's stepping on the very up-and-comers who could use a signal boost. People are calling it hypocrisy at its finest, publicly championing young talent in interviews, but privately milking them for free ideas. That's precisely the kind of behavior that flips fan admiration into outright fury. Then you have the meltdown factor with the media. Early in the lawsuit, the New York Times published a piece that heavily sided with Blake, painting Justin as a manipulative mastermind. Once Justin pointed out how suspiciously fast the article appeared, barely 24 hours after Blake's complaint, people began suspecting an orchestrated PR blitz. The newspaper denies wrongdoing, but the timing raises eyebrows.
Like anyone else who would be going through a situation where you're accused of something that you did not do, and are suffering in a public way, I think it's distressful, to say the least.
If Blake fed them all the info ahead of time, it's arguably a cunning strategy, or a shady smear campaign depending on which side you're on. Regardless, it left a sour taste in many people's mouths, especially after Justin produced contradictory evidence. What's next in this real-life soap opera? For one thing, Justin's lawyer has declared there's zero chance of settling quietly. They want a full-blown court battle to clear Justin's name and expose any behind-the-scenes manipulations.
Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer.
That could be catastrophic for Blake if these rumored receipts are introduced as evidence. The public meltdown is likely to intensify, with more ex-co-stars or acquaintances stepping up to share unflattering anecdotes once they see it's safe to speak. And if Ryan continues to be implicated, we might see the golden couple forcibly dragged into testimonies. The question is, can Blake keep the illusion going when the stakes are this high? Critics say no. Already, her golden image is corroding. People who once idolized her for that relatable glam are admitting they're disappointed by the repeated allegations. Others question if her entire brand, wholesome beauty, comedic timing, warm-hearted mother figure, was masterfully curated to hide a controlling side that surfaces anytime someone challenges her. Some fans stand by her, refusing to believe she could be manipulative, cunning, or cruel, but the tide of public opinion has undeniably shifted. Hollywood loves a comeback story, but first you have to fall.
Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person, okay? And that's largely due to the fact that she is a modern feminist, and so she has to create struggle where there just isn't any.
Is Blake Lively now in a free fall? If half of these rumors hold any weight in court, she might face a very public downfall, complete with humiliating revelations, major financial payouts, and a black mark that top directors and producers might avoid. Or maybe she'll launch an epic PR blitz to turn the narrative around once again. For now, though, the alleged cover-ups, comedic shade from ex-colleagues, and leaked evidence hint that the real Blake Lively is far removed from the sweet, innocent starlet fans have adored for over a decade. At this point, the biggest question is what else will come tumbling out. Every new day of depositions, leaked phone calls, or co-star confessions threatens to blow the lid off more secrets. Will we learn that even more sets were riddled with friction, or that more small businesses were overshadowed by her thirst for creative control? Will the meltdown spread to other major players in her circle? One thing is crystal clear. The perfect facade she spent years constructing is cracking, and the so-called receipts are flooding through those cracks faster than any PR spin can patch them. Blake Lively's public persona is a lie. Receipts reveal the real her. Might sound like clickbait. But to those who've seen the alleged evidence, it's looking like a brutal reality check. So maybe the next time you watch her charm a late-night audience, you'll wonder, is this the real Blake, or just another chapter in her script of illusions? Because behind the shimmering gowns and the trademark grin, a much darker portrait might be lurking, one that could permanently alter how we perceive Hollywood's golden girl. And if this meltdown goes any further, we may see that portrait in neon lights for the entire world to dissect.